welcome in the left corner, Andy Hutchins, editor of AlligatorArmy.com, and in the right corner is Matthew Minnick, basketball writer for TomahawkNation.com. You guys know the deal. Let's keep all answers under 30 seconds. However, I must ask Andy before we start to show his pant wear. I want to make sure that he is not wearing jorts on the show.
I'm not going to show you if I'm not wearing jorts.
There you go. All right. That is a poor start.
Let's get it on. Let's start off with the king of the jorts himself, Andy. Now, we're talking about potential all-SEC point guard, Kenny Boynton. How important is his play to the Gators' success?
I think it's really important. I think Kenny Boynton might just be the most dangerous point guard in all college basketball. He's not even really a point guard. He's moving over from the 2 for the first time this year. And he's really sort of learning the point guard position on the fly, but he's a streaky shooter. He puts the ball in the net a lot when he gets it from outside, and he's got a great range on that shot. And he's also really decisive with the ball when he's knifing inside for those easy twos at the bucket. So he's the key, but there's a lot of keys on this Gators team.
Nice. Well, Matthew, the Seminoles will definitely have their hands full with Boynton. Will they be able to slow him down at his 14 points per game?
He may get his 14. That's actually what he's averaged for his career against FSU. But if he does, it'll be likely an inefficient 14. In fact, the history for his career against FSU is just 12 for 35 from the field, and that's just 4 of 19 from three-land, largely due to Michael Snare, who's probably the best perimeter defender in all of college basketball. Snare's been guarding in the last 3 years. He'll probably draw the assignment again. He's got the length and the athleticism to really frustrate the gunslinger into some poor decision-making, some ill-advised shots.
Well, Matt, let's keep it on Snare. The Seminoles rely on his play as well as junior Carl White. Are these two going to be able to lead the Seminoles to a victory?
In order for Florida State to win, they're going to have to play well. Fortunately for the Noles, Snare has played best when the lights are brightest. He was last year's ACC tournament MVP, this year's Coaches vs. Cancer MVP. So he should be fine. White actually is this year's most efficient offensive player for the Noles, but he'll have to do more of his damage underneath and trying to control Patrick Young on the offensive glass and hopefully stay out of foul trouble, which has been a bit of a bugaboo for him.
Andy, how hard is it going to be for the Gators to defend two players that can both take over the game at any given moment, or as I call them, Mike Gillislees?
Well, see, the thing is that those two guys haven't done a whole lot against Florida so far. In 5 combined appearances against the Gators, there's 1 double-digit point performance between the two of them. And it's Snares. And the good thing about Snares is that Florida's got perimeter defenders of its own. It's got Scotty Wilbekin and Casey Prather, both of whom have length. Kenny Boynton has a little bit of the speed to keep up with Snare, too. And then Carl White's going to have problems with Patrick Young underneath just because Young is really good, really big, and really motivated to play well against Florida State.
Now, Matthew, it hasn't been pretty for the Noles at home versus the Gators. They haven't beat them there since 2008. Is this the game they finally get it done?
You know, on paper, you look at the earlier season results and you might think, it's a bit of a mismatch, but not so fast, my friends, as Lee Corso says. FSU has a history of following up head-scratching losses with some stunning victories, like last year's blowout at UNC that had Roy Williams heading for the showers early. And actually, this is UF's first true road test of the season, which could be big for freshman guard Michael Frazier. And this is a venue that's caused a lot of headaches for top 5 teams over the decade, including one of the title teams that Billy Donovan had at Florida.
Nice, solid. Matthew, clearly the brightest guy in the room right now. Andy, will the Seminoles have to wait another year before they finally beat the Gators at home?
Yeah, they're going to have to wait 2 years because Florida's not coming back to Tallahassee until 2014, and they're leaving there tomorrow night with a win. I think Florida's a lot better than Mercer, and if Mercer can beat Florida State, I'm pretty sure Florida can too. There's just too much offense, I think, for Florida to have any problems with Florida State's young and sort of maturing defense. And I think there's way too much defense for Florida State to do anything if either White or Snare doesn't get off.
That was too easy. That was like a breakaway layup. I mean, that was too easy.
How old is Ron Mercer? How are you losing to him by himself? That is embarrassing. Now, real quick, let's turn our attention to the upcoming bowl games. Starting with Andy. Who wins the Orange Bowl, Northern Illinois or Florida State?
Well, I'm going to be rooting really, really hard for Northern Illinois. I like the Huskies. I've actually got a former teacher who went up and taught there for a little while. But I've got to go with Florida State. They've gotten really good at beating inferior teams in close games no one watches. So I'm going to go with Florida State.
How about that? All right, man, who wins the Sugar Bowl, Louisville or Florida?
Well, I think a lot of that depends on Charlie Strong. If he's still there, hey, he could give Florida a run for his money. If anybody knows the Gator program, it's him. But if he leaves, well, we saw what happened the last time that the Gators lucked out and got a team in the Sugar Bowl that lost its coach. That was a blowout victory against Cincy. So, they should beat Louisville. They're the lowest ranked team in the BCS. Florida lucked out again.
Matt, I got to give you credit for completing that question while E.J. Manuel was devastated. While you were talking. Finally, for the tiebreaker, who can give me the best argument as to why we should care about a Florida State matchup that does not involve football?
Well, I think Florida State's going to have somebody on the court who can complete more passes than E.J. Manuel can, so that's a good thing. But you're also going to see a Florida team that has looked like a Final Four caliber team for most of this first month of the college basketball season. And that's a really good team that you should watch every time out. I'm not so sure about Florida State being up there with that.
Matthew, go ahead and jump on him. One last knock.
To be honest, this might be blasphemy in North Florida, Tallahassee, and Jordanville down there to the east of us, but the last couple of years, these programs might be better basketball teams than football teams. FSU's defending ACC champs, made the Sweet 16 a couple of years ago. UF made the Elite Eight back-to-back years. Of course, they blew huge leads in those games and, wasted their shot at the Final Four last time. Probably no different this year. But this should be a good rivalry not only this year, but next year as well, with both teams bringing in major recruits. Hopefully, Andrew Wiggins for the Noles.
You know what? I'm going to give up first. First of all, we understand that Danny Cannell is biased. He is a former Nole. Look, I like to gator chomp in my free time, and I cut my jeans at the knee. So we're both biased over here. So I have to go to DJ EL to decide the winner of the Blogger Throwdown. Our guest DJ, what's going on, man? Give us a winner.
I think Andy made the better argument.
No, look at him. He's wearing orange. Now, come on.
Andy made the better argument.
Matthew, you held it down just fine. You don't worry about it.
I want to thank Matthew Minnick of TomahawkNation.com for coming on the show. He can satisfy himself with the lovely Golden Girls who we had on the show earlier, friends of the program. Just tell them you know Reese Waters. And I want to congratulate Andy Hitchens of AlligatorArmy.com and new champion of the Blogger Throwdown. Congratulations, my friend. Jeans now. We made you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
DJ EL, he let me down. All right, it's time for you rule number 3, Louisville versus the College of Charleston. Russ.